I love Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I know. Big shocker. I've been playing this game for about 5 years now, and for the entirety of those 5 years, this has always remained as either my favorite TTRPG or in my top 3 TTRPGs based on my individual interests at the time. And I just want to talk about it. And I don't want to read out of the book and just tell you how a class works. I want to just say how much I love this game, because I don't do that very often. I don't just sit down and talk about how much and why I love Pathfinder 2e. There is no script for this video, there is no big setup. I just wanted to talk about the game that has simultaneously become a staple. Oh my loud cars. I just wanted to talk about the game that has simultaneously become a staple in my weekly life. I'm in 3 Pathfinder campaigns at this very moment, and it's also the game that let me do my dream job for as long as I have. And when it all comes down to it, my love for Pathfinder 2e does stem from its character creation. Y'all, never have I seen a tabletop role-playing game that is so delightfully crunchy and customizable, and yet so digestible. A lot of people look at Pathfinder 2e and say, wow, crunch just equals confusion. And for a lot of games, that is the case. It takes a while to learn something like a D&D or D&D 3.5 because those are very crunchy games and they're not quite as streamlined as Pathfinder 2e. Hell, Pathfinder 1st Edition was incredibly crunchy, incredibly customizable, and incredibly confusing. And that's because, especially for 3.5 and Pathfinder 1st Edition, their whole feat system was 90% of the reason for those games' complexity. You know, you level up and you say, okay, cool, you get a new feat. Okay, is there like a list? Yeah. In this book, and this book, and this book, and this book, and this book. Or you can go online and find the list of all 350 feats available to you at level 4. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, me and my friends still love to play D&D 3.5 when we get the chance, just because once you understand it, that kind of customization and build diversity is insanely fun. But it takes so much research, and if you don't like research, let me tell you, you're not going to love those games. And that's what I love about Pathfinder 2nd Edition. You really don't need to do much research for a lot of different reasons. The first and foremost that you hear me echo constantly is that it's really hard to make a bad Pathfinder character. Unless you make a barbarian with 8 strength on purpose, you're not gonna be a bad character. At worst, you're gonna be -2 or so behind someone who min-maxed their way to the top. Again, compared to those old PF1 D&D 3.5 games where you could be worthless compared to a min-maxed level 1 character. But beyond that, just the character building itself leads you along so easily. It's literally called the ABCs of character creation. Your ancestry, which gives you base hit points, a couple base features like speed, a feat, and a sub-ancestry called a heritage, easy enough. Then the B, your background, just gives you 2 ability boosts. Your ancestry also gave you ability boosts. It gives you a skill feat, and it gives you a lore proficiency. And then your class gives you everything else, including, if you're a martial character, a feat. Now, unlike other games, even unlike D&D 5e, whenever I get a feat in D&D 5e, I'm really confused. And the list is only like 30 long, but it's annoying because every feat is available to every character aside from a few prerequisites like, 14 intelligence or something like that. Whereas in Pathfinder, you say, okay, it's level 2. I get a class feat. I'm gonna look at my class section for feats, and that's all of them. Sometimes new feats are released in a supplement, but they're still labeled and organized as a fighter feat, or a ranger feat, or a wizard feat, and that is not to be understated. People talk about a lot of things about Pathfinder 2e that they love. For me, it's the organization. The organization of the feats you need are in your class. Even the skill feats, which can seem very overwhelming, you know, you look up, especially you look up skill feats on Nethys, and because of the way it's worded, they also show general feats, which is kind of annoying. But you look up skill feats, and it can be easy to say, oh, there's 40 options. Well, there's not really 40 options. What are your most important skills for your character, the skills you're using the most? Medicine? Okay, cool. Go look at the 3 medicine skill feats. Maybe you like stealth. There's like 3 stealth skill feats. Even once you're level 15 and legendary in a skill, there's only like 12 skill feats or so to pick from, maybe 15, over the course of your entire character's journey to that level, for that skill. Granted, there's like 20 different skills, but you only need to worry about the feats for the skills you're actively improving and using and fitting your team's composition. The only thing that could be comparable to like the 5e feat system is Pathfinder's general feats, and even those are pretty simple, which is what I like. They've kept general feats simple. If you've wondered why over the last 5 years we've gotten like 5 new general feats ever, it's because general feats are already pretty much exactly where Paizo wants them to be. New armor or weapon proficiency, some movement speed, a pet, something like that, a very simple just thing for your character. It's not going to affect your class, it's not going to affect your ancestry, it's not going to affect your skills very much. It's nice. So general feats are how many general feats are there available at level 3? 22, and like I said, most of them are super easy to understand. Die hard, you die at dying 5 instead of 4. Toughness, add your level to your hit points. Breath control, you can breathe longer. It's simple. Pathfinder 2e characters are a bunch of simple parts all put together. I've used this analogy a lot over the last 5 years, and it holds true, and it's why I love making Pathfinder 2e characters so much. It's Legos. It's taking these individual pieces and sticking them all together to make your character. You take this ancestry, you tack on that heritage piece with that ancestry piece, or with that ancestry feat piece, and you've got your ancestry there. You take your background, you choose your ability boosts, and the skill feat that comes with it, you stick your ancestry to that. You take all your class pieces with your class feature, and your starting feat, if you get one, and all of these starting proficiencies, and put that all together, and you've got your character. It's just like 15 Legos you stuck together to look like a man. And then every time you level up, all you're doing is clicking new pieces on. I don't know if you've noticed this in your time playing PF2 or watching PF2 from the outside, a lot of Pathfinder 2e content doesn't inherently scale up. Now, some of it does, sneak attack does. If you heighten a spell's rank, it does, and some feats deal more damage at higher levels, especially for some classes like Kineticist, which are built around that. But for the most part, once you click a little Lego piece to your character, it's just gonna function. It just does what it says on the tin and rarely changes. And even when it does change, 90% of the time it is +1 more dice rolled when you use that feature, like sneak attack or power attack. And then all these pieces feel so good to use in gameplay. I'm currently playing in a Kingmaker campaign. I've got a level 15 Earth single gate kineticist I've been playing for 3 years now, and almost every piece of his kit has come up over the years. Everything from his Oriad ancestry to his, I took additional lore cooking and additional lore warfare, which has come up a lot, with kingdoms and war and whatnot. Almost all of my abilities and feats I've taken have been great, and the ones I picked that I didn't like, Pathfinder 2e's 1-week downtime retrain system is phenomenal as long as you've got a table that allows you to make use of it with downtime. Being able to re-customize your character like that because you don't like a choice you made is fantastic, because just like Legos, it's like popping off one arm and replacing it with a different one because you like how that one looks better. And all of this about my build feeling good, it applies to combat and roleplay. I've got abilities and magic items that I crafted because I put proficiency up into crafting that I've been able to use for roleplay purposes. I made this really cool ring that lets me teleport 100 miles through the earth. Again, we're level 15, we're very, very powerful, even though our butts keep getting kicked by encounters, which I love, by the way. I'm just gonna tangent over to that. I'm playing in a late game campaign, level 15. Nothing we do is that world breaking. I'm in a 5e campaign. We're level like 10, I think. And even by when we were like level 7, we were still killing bosses in 2 rounds that were like 9 levels ahead of us in challenge rating. And in Pathfinder, my GM can attest to this. In Pathfinder, I'll hit an enemy over the course of like 3 rounds with elemental blasts and area of effects and whatnot, and I will constantly, he's getting so sick of me saying it, but it's almost every session I say, he's still alive? Because I will deal what feels like a bonkers amount of damage, but monsters keep up, enemies keep up, everything keeps up with the players, and the players aren't given these keys to the kingdom, world warping and just magical abilities to make everything a non-challenge forever. And it's great. And it's partially because of Pathfinder somehow, I don't know how they did it, but they have increased the bonuses to DCs and rolls. You know, when you're rolling 2-hit or athletics and whatnot, those numbers are so much bigger, and yet it's also so much more balanced because you can only stack so many things on each individual character, so you don't wind up with these insane one-turn kill rounds from a D&D 5e campaign. You know, when the wizard casts haste on the paladin who gets holy weaponed from the cleric and then gets 5 attacks per round that all deal an insane amount of damage that they can wait until they hit to smite, and because of bounded accuracy they have like an 80% accuracy chance. It's insane. But again, because of the 3-action economy of Pathfinder, cheating out multiple attacks per round, really hard to do both for you and for the enemies, which means landing that second hit in one turn, even at level 15, is such a big deal. The table gets so excited, or the inverse, when an enemy happens to hit 2, gods forbid, all 3 of their attacks in one turn. Like, you're looking at each other at the, you know, the digital table, but like you're sitting there like, oh god, this is how death happens. The GM gets lucky and rolls, you know, a 17, a 14, and a 19, and just beats the hell out of you in one turn. It's so cool, but it never feels cheap. It always feels like the dice are deciding what is meant to happen, and it's all balanced in such a great way. Even spells, a lot of people love to complain that spells feel too weak in Pathfinder. I would like you to tell that to my cleric who can deal 12d6 to every target in a 60-foot cone that also steals their actions, even on a successful save. Spells are incredible, but they're not game-breaking. You know, you're not going to have a 4th rank banishment spell. When I read D&D 5e's version of banishment, I'm like, oh, that just happens. Okay. Whereas in Pathfinder 2e, to banish something out of the realm forever, that is such a high level magic compared to D&D's power scaling. D&D's power scaling feels more like spikes. You know, every few spell levels you get that next insane ability that spikes your power above a lot of other things. Whereas in Pathfinder, it's much more of a gradient. The power escalation feels really natural, and a lot of this is because a lot of damaging abilities are expected to just remain your damaging ability. You know, if you are using Fireball at 4th rank, heightening that to 8th rank is going to do more raw damage than most other 8th rank spells, and that's because the actual 8th rank spells themselves are designed to be these specific situation handling problem solvers in really unique ways. A lot of people complain that, oh, this means those 8th rank spells are less useful because they are less universal. And no. I mean, I guess technically, yes, they will be used less often, but again, that's only if you're using the 8th rank spells. Remember, a Fireball heightened to 8th rank is still an 8th rank spell, and those do so much damage. It's incredible. People who... I'm not going to harp on it. I don't want to harp on people's issues. This is a video about loving this game, and I really just do. From the spell selection themselves to the more niche spells. I once saved my party's life by casting Helpful Steps. Our party ran up it, and you can dismiss it so the enemies couldn't follow us, and we got away. Absolutely incredible feeling to use such a niche spell of Summon Stairs to rescue your party from imminent doom. It's incredible. I have so many great stories with Pathfinder. And it does have issues. There are a lot of issues, as with any TTRPG. You know, I'm going to say it, the Kineticist class is not balanced. Not from a combat perspective, but from roleplay. Kineticists in roleplay are so hard to rein in because you as the GM just sort of have to say no. quite a bit, and it doesn't feel great. I'm playing an Earth Kineticist. Do you know how BS it is to be able to say, okay, I'm level 9, so I can just Earth Kineticist 20 pounds of raw Earth every 4 seconds? Or you know, I'm GMing for a Metal Kineticist, which is really hard to run, because base Kinesis specifically says you can't use it on anything that is secured in place. 99% of metal is secured in place, so I hate having to say, no, you can't base kinesis the door, the hinges are locked in place, and you can't base kinesis the hinges because they're screwed in place, and it's all weird. The game is not without its flaws. The game has a lot of little flaws that you start to notice, and here's what I kind of love, and I've been trying to shift my mindset on it. When I find things to complain about Pathfinder 2e, they're so specific, like the kineticist base kinesis. And you know what that says to me? That says that the entire outer package of this game, the die rolls, attack rolls, armor class, saving throws, skill checks, all of those, they're all so solid that I need to find the most minute things to complain about, because the human brain always needs to latch on to the things that it could try to improve. And for Pathfinder 2e, I pretty much never look at the overall grand scheme of the game and say, yeah, that needs to change. The only thing the community can overall agree on, and even I don't fully agree upon this, but it is a majority, I will lend to that, is, you know, spellcasters not getting runes to their attack rolls, so that spell attack rolls will always be behind physical martial attack rolls. And yeah, mechanically speaking, rules as written, I suppose that's a problem. For me, it's just more often that the spellcaster just needs to choose whether to be targeting a save or targeting an armor class. You know, if you're fighting an ooze with garbage armor class, you can still use a spell attack roll and hit it fine. But again, I'm not here to harp on it, even though that's what my brain 100% jumps on to trying to do. The game is fantastic. I have so many stories from all of my different campaigns with so many different people, some of them with some of you out there who might still be watching from the Patron games from 4 years back. If I keep talking, I'm just going to get into how much I love individual things, you know, the class variety, and how, aside from very, very recently, we've had no classes that really step on each other's toes, and even the classes that do, quote-unquote, step on each other's toes, which I was going to say the Envoy and the Commander, they're technically different games. Starfinder and Pathfinder stepping on each other's toes is totally fine, and what blew my mind, they still don't even really step on each other's toes. Envoy abilities require allies to use reactions, which means they're more powerful, whereas Commanders give out free reactions and free action responses to their tactics. They're different. They're wildly different, even though they fill the same niche. I'm gonna rein myself in, because I really love this game. And more than that, more than the reason I wanted to make this video, obviously I wanted to just gush about Pathfinder because I love this game. More than that, I want to make more positive content, you know? I like talking about things that I like. I really, really have found one of my favorite passions lately, especially this past week, has just been picking something I enjoy and talking about it. This is a soft plug for my second channel, but I have 5 videos over there. I uploaded 5 videos to the second channel last week, just talking about different games that I love, why I love them. I've been playing them lately, and it's a good feeling. You know, in an internet so shrouded and covered in hate and controversy and fighting and arguing and whatnot, I just really love being able to talk about something I enjoy. It's helping my mental headspace a lot lately, so I'm gonna keep doing it. I don't know if I'll do it too much more on this channel, but definitely on the second channel. So if you want to hear me talk about things I love, second channel is a great place to do it. And y'all, at the end of the day, I just really love Pathfinder 2e.